So it's 4 o'clock. Can we start?
Yes, sir. 1 second. Just 1 minute. We are going to start in a minute. So, with the permission of my co-panelists, we will start.
Yes, go ahead, please.
So, friends, my name is Hari Shankar. I am your host of the day, Friday Debate with Machine Maker. This is our sixth Friday debate. And today we are debating about Skill India mission and its impact in the Indian manufacturing. As you are aware, Machine Maker is one of the leading media platform in the online digital as well as the print format. We are serving the Indian manufacturing industry for the last 16 years. And it is a mission for us to creating a very empowered manufacturing community in India. Atmanirbhar Bharat or Making in India, Make in India, the mission what our Prime Minister is taking up for last 6-7 years, we are continuously supporting those activities and those missions for years. This Friday debate what we are organizing for the last 1.5 months is also a step towards empowering our people in manufacturing. Today, our subject is about Skill India mission. As you are aware, 2015, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi have started Skill India, and we have celebrated 5 years of Skill India. So this was a very big mission what Prime Minister started. It is not just about skilling people for India, but also make Indians available for the international market. Over these 5 years, more than 5 crore people, as per National NSDC, National Skill Development Corporation, more than 5 crore people have got the benefit of this Skill India mission. As you're aware, India is the youngest economy with the world's largest youngest population. Today, discussing this subject with us, we are having our panelists. Let me introduce them to you. We have with us today Dr. Sudhir Gavane. He is the Vice Chancellor of MGM University from Aurangabad. He is very, very proactive when it comes to industry academic collaborations. There were so many innovations MGM University showcased during this COVID-19. We have with us the champion of SMEs in India, Mr. Chandrakanta Salunke, he is always vocal about empowering the small and medium scale industries in the country. We have Mr. B.B. Sudarshan, who is the Deputy Managing Director of Nettu Technical Training Foundation, a person who have changed the face of Nettu Technical Training Foundation and leading building the skills in India. One of the youngest panelists with us who also going to represent the youngsters in the country. That's what Nihar told when I was talking to her. Who is going to represent you are talking about Skill India. Skill India is all about empowering the young people in the country. So who is going to represent them? I told it's a valid point. So she is going to take that up, and she is the director of Anvesha Composite Education Foundation, who is following this Swiss model of skill education, vocational education in the country. We have with us Sanjeev Himachali, who is the principal consultant of Ecliptic HR Solutions. He is a leading HR consultant in the country. So, as I told you, friends, this program is organized by Machine Maker. Please do visit us regularly to find the latest manufacturing updates and innovations, as well as the latest news happening in the manufacturing sector in India and global. We also request you to please follow us on social media platforms. Our colleagues will be sharing the links in the chat section. So, friends, let's start our debate for the day. Today, we are going to talk about a couple of subjects today. Why Skill India Mission? What is the Skill India Mission and what is the requirement of Skill India Mission? That is what we are going to start talking about. You see, India as a country is having a robust education system. We have, apart from our primary schooling, after the secondary school or after the 10th matriculation, we have ITIs, different vocational training schools. Then we have polytechnics, then we have engineering colleges, and we have ITIs. All kind of education systems are already there for years. Then why a Skill India Mission separate? Now, does the Skill India Mission is able to serve the purpose? Today also, when we talk to the manufacturing industries, they're still not able to get the right kind of people who can manage their work, their trade. So why that gap is happening? Lack of skilled manpower, how we are able to manage that? Another big point is that, are the companies able to pay these people? The skilled manpower who is coming into manufacturing, are they paid properly? And not the last, with the change in COVID, our Prime Minister have told right now, skilling is not just learning, it is also upskilling. Whatever skills, COVID is completely changing the way we are doing anything and everything. Vice Chancellor have just told Namaste when he was telling this is the new way of greeting people. It was there earlier, but now people are doing like this, always holding the hands. So things are changing. Automation are coming. So are our people ready? Are they upskilled? These are the points we are going to talk. I would like to take this debate first to Chandrakant Salunke, who represents the SMEs in the country, where I would like to ask him to start the debate. How the Skill India Mission, and does the Skill India Mission helping SMEs in the country? Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Hari Shankarji, for inviting me to share my thoughts. Can you hear me properly?
Yes,
okay.
We can hear you.
And let me introduce you first our chamber. SME Chamber of India is 27 years old organization, and we are supporting SME entrepreneurs for not only just to grow, but to start a new business, develop new business, expand new business, as well as transformation and diversification of the business. We are supporting SMEs for availing the various facilities and the advantages made available by the government, central government, state governments, regulatory bodies, and banking sector. We are focusing more on the international cooperation. We support SMEs to those are capable SMEs to go global, establish bilateral trade, by inbound and outbound investment, and mostly we are educating SMEs to explore new business opportunities, emerging business opportunity, emerging market. So these are the various activities we do. We do a lot of webinars, programs, conferences. Now all of you must be happy to note that from the first week of April till now, we have must be done around 70 odd webinars, and all are related to SMEs, all are related to industry, all are related to particularly on the exports, manufacturing, entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurs, and startups and young entrepreneurs. Now, coming to the point about today's theme, the Skill India. Friends, let me share one very interesting thing today. Dr. Gawane must be aware or not, I don't know. Mr. Montek Singh Aluwala attended my program in 2007. Since I am representing SME sector, I expressed my very, very negative remarks about the role of government. That time, the UPA government. That UPA government is not giving more thrust or more, focusing on the creating skill manpower. Because if any state government is providing land, industrial land, for example, Bid, Latur, Usmanabad, or Aurangabad, here in Rajkot, Bhavnagar, even Mysore, Belgaum, or Coimbatore, or any other parts of India, we can set up business. But what about the skill manpower? So this is the major issue we have presented to Mr. Montek Singh Aluwala in 2007. And from that onwards, I regularly I started interacting. And one day he called me, he said, Mr. Salunke, since you have presented very good idea, we have decided to go for a National Skill Development Corporation. So that is a National Skill Development Corporation invented by Montek Singh Aluwala with the prior permission of Honorable Prime Minister. And that was birth of this the National Skill Development Corporation. Now coming to the point about whether SME sector is getting proper support from them, not at all. Because we are the SME sector, rather it is an institution for making unskilled person to skilled. Okay, so most of the regional level or the smaller cities or villages, unskilled person become skilled person. Why? Because of the SME sector is giving opportunity to them according to their knowledge, according to their experience, according to their education. But in SME sector, there is a one another lacking. If we teach, if we train or educate any employee, what happens after 2 years, 3 years, they run away to other bigger company. So that is a very sad story about SME sector. But now, after this April, after this the pandemic started and the lockdown started, most of the migrant labor, even the local labor, not started working in the factories. In Maharashtra, for example, there are around 20 lakh enterprises registered. In that, more than 19 lakh 50,000 are MSMEs, micro, tiny, small, and medium companies. In that, around say 6 lakh 75,000 are manufacturers, and more than 12 to 13 lakhs are a service industry. In that 20 lakhs, more than 10 lakhs in the MMR region. Okay, so ultimately the major focus, the skill provider, skill manpower provision is in the MMR region, in Mumbai region, or Thane region, or Pune region, or Nasik region, or even Ahmedabad if we talk about the national level. But what about the other segment? and what are the other sectors, how we will fulfill the requirement of the skilled manpower. Now there is a huge challenges for SME sector because migrant labor still not come. COVID impact is day by day, increasing. Yesterday we have done a world record that 65,000 infected patient we found, and day by day it is increasing. We don't know. I don't know any Jyotishi is going to predict that when COVID will go or when Corona will go. It's a difficult now. So we have to, rather I said, coping with the COVID or coping with the Corona, how we will create strategy to survive in this competitive, rather, it's a difficult time, rather how you will adapt the revival strategy to survive in this competitive era. So this is my today's theme. So we can discuss later once I get another chance for a talking. But one thing, we have to focus more on the development of the skilled manpower, because we have to compete with the China. We have to compete with the world market. If we have to accomplish the dream project of the Honorable Prime Minister, making India as a $5 trillion economy, only SME can play an important role. And second thing, employees of the company can play a very important role, plus banks can play. So with this word, thankful to you, Harishankarji, for giving me a chance. Thank you.
We will sure come back to you, and you start the. I can tell you that the debate you got given some points. So I'm now going to Dr. Gavane. We have a lot of education system, and right now also government have came with the new education policy also. But somewhere the businesses, the manufacturing or the SMEs or the industry is not getting the right kind of skills. So here lot of efforts, lots of initiatives are happening in the education, in the academic sector. After all these initiatives, why this gap? Why we are not able to get the right manpower or right skilled workers for the manufacturing industry?
Truth, thank you very much for inviting me, machine makers, on this very important discussion with the professionals and intellectuals there to express their knowledge, and I will be educated by that. Mr. Sudarshan, Chandrakant Salunke sir, SME leader, young generation, representative Neha and Sanjuji, and you are there as a moderator, Harishankarji, doing a lot of noticeable work in the field. See, as Chandrakant Salunke sir has rightly expressed, that the mission is there. It started with the UPA government, and they started initial, establishing the mission, and National Skill Development Council was created, an authority was created. State governments were asked to create that. But when the new government came into the power under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji, he initiated to take it into a mission mode. So that was earlier, that was a mission, but the way in which, aggressively marketing, aggressively designing, aggressively reaching out, that kind of approach was taken by the new government under the leadership of Narendra Modi. And because of that, this has been thoroughly discussed, and very strong attempts were made to create an ecosystem required for the improving the skills. Before going to the ground realities, let us understand why this skill mission was required. If you see, the manpower in our country, human capital of our country, useful for the industry, the well-trained and skilled workers proportion of India was 2.3%. That was the case. And the highest in the world is South Korea, 96%. Just imagine the gap. between us and the top countries in the world. That of Japan is 80%. That of USA is 52%. That of Germany is 75%. UK is 68%. So we can realize why these specific countries are industrially advanced. Why they are advanced? Because they have a battery, they have a human capital, huge human capital, well trained and skilled enough to accept and contribute to the development of the SME and other major industries in those countries. And also, they are into a quality production processes, because unless the human capital is well trained and well skilled, you cannot create a quality product. If quality products are not there, you cannot stand in a global market and local market. That happens. So for that, this skilling was very, very important. So as you have rightly said, in India, what is the scenario? In India, we are having around 49,383 colleges, 11,000 standalone institutions like IITs and IIMs. We have 978 universities, proper universities in place. So with this infrastructure, 3.74 crore students in the higher education sector. But if you see the proportion of these numbers are huge comparatively. If you see the global, it's one of the robust infrastructure of higher education, as you Harishankar has rightly said. But when you understand the population of India, when you understand the population of youth into 18 to 23 age group, so their number as actual is 16 crore. So out of 16 crore youth, you are having 3.74 crore youth into the college stream. And as you are saying, out of school student, I have devised a concept out of college student, out of college youth to be specific. Out of college youth in our country is 12 crores. Just imagine, 120 million youth of our country is out of college. And therefore, as they are not trained, as they are not being professionally trained, they have not acquired required skills, they have not been properly nurtured, equipped with skill. And those who come into the stream of higher education, again, out of 3 crores 74, there are the studies in our country, many studies, I should not refer them, it will take time, but it is all that 82% of the engineers also are not able to do the coding. Okay. Employability of the business management students, MBA students, is almost 13 to 14% just. So our graduates are not employable, not having skills. They are not well equipped with the proper skills. Leave aside the futuristic skills. The present required skills also they do not possess. And we have IITs, 18,000 IITs are there. And the seats in the IITs are 25 lakhs. Just imagine. But I am of the view that ITIs have provided a quality skilled manpower to the industry. Their contribution is worth noting. What was required, that upgradation of ITIs into the futuristic designs and equipment, that was not done. And that is highly required. Now the Skill India Mission thinks of that ITIs will be improved and their seats will be increased. And if we do that, the youth, which is a dropout from the higher education, which has not reached to the higher education, they can enter into the ITIs and they can get. Even the polytechnics. Polytechnics are performing better in comparison with the undergraduation of engineering programs, because engineers are unemployable. They are not engineering anything. That is the comment of one very eminent engineer of our country. That they are saying they are engineers, but they are not able to engineer anything. Right? They go to the banking, they go to the insurance, they go to the other industries, but they are not into the engineering education. So my viewpoint is that with the result at what Saunke sir has rightly said, that you mentioned that 5 crore beneficiaries are there, but that is the training component. How many of them are placed? That's a big question. And I have a statistics of 2015-16, and that statistics says till 16, train youth through the Skill India mission, 80 lakhs 33,000. 80 lakh 33,299 to be exact. And out of them, only 29 lakh 49,120 trained people were placed. If you do the another investigation, how many of them have been retained in the industry and how many of them have been found useful for the industry? It's a big question mark, my friends. So whatever the system we create, whether it into the technical training, whether is into the Skill India mission, or whether we do the things, there we find that the skills required, learning and unlearning and relearning, that is not happening. And learning by doing is the point missed by all students, learners also, teachers also, and therefore, Mahatma Gandhi has rightly said on whose philosophy our Mahatma Gandhi Mission MG University functions, and we have a Jawaharlal Nehru Engineering College established in 1983. So that is our experience and that is our philosophy, that learning by doing is very important. Research-based learning is very important, RBL. Service-based learning is very important, SBL, due to service to the nation. That is what Mahatma Gandhi was preaching. Do research. We are very poor in R&D. So what we are doing, we are creating knowledge workers. Why we are not creating knowledge creators in the basic education, basic sciences and technology? That is not happening in higher education sector. And we people, I am since last more than 37 years in the higher education sector, we people are responsible. We are not creating very competent R&D personnel in our country. So on R&D map of the world, 5 top countries are having 75% of the share. And we are negligible. India is negligible. So in R&D we are poor. In training and creating skilled manpower we are poor. And we are having huge human capital at our disposal. That is 15 to 59 age group working class. We are having 62% of population, and it is going to remain for 2040. So because of aged population in the developed world, there will not be human capital available for them. And India, we are having surplus population, and that surplus population will be, demographic advantage for us. But it will happen as and when we will equip our students, our youth, with required skills which are required at present and which are required for Industrial Revolution 4.0. And for that, we need higher education 4.0, highly focused learning by doing, not only just theory. Theory with practice, and theory should come out with the disruptive innovation, R&D, making, getting patents and converting into the commercial things. Then and then only the industry will say, oh, there is some important activities going into the university. What is happening, President, my last point. What is happening today? We are coming to industry. Guide us, design our curriculum, take our student, give the placement. And in developed world, the scenario is vice versa. In developed world, that the industry comes to the university to take the guidance, and industry gets the guidance and guidelines from the universities. They give new ideas, new patents, new commercialable patents, and through that happens. And we must understand that this will happen only when our higher education system, let me confess, is competent enough to advise industry, to demonstrate industry, what is the actual future of the industry, that we should able to demonstrate. And if we fail into that, then we cannot produce, we cannot nurture the required skill manpower at present and future also. There is a huge potential for our country, our India, that we can we can produce we can produce human capital required for the global industry as well as India, and that is the advantage. If we lose that opportunity, it will be demographic disaster, not the advantage. This is my point.
See, you have completely covered the entire points what we are supposed to hear in your 15 minutes of speech. You covered the entire points. I am telling you, this was wonderful, Dr. Gavane. You given us a lot of information. See, in 2015, when Government of India came out with Skill India Mission with 1,500 crore rupees, which is completely given to Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So there were several, there is more than 1,000 Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas, that thing, they have having this Yojana Kendras,
PM Kaushal Vikas
720.
Kendra.
Yeah,
PM Kaushal Vikas.
yeah, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Yojana Kendra, there is 720 numbers are there. So there by 2022, they were supposed to train 40 crore people. 2022, and now we are in 2020, and the number what we are having is 80 lakh. So even if you go to the ministry's website, you will see that every year right now they are having 1 crore. So we are already got 5 crore we should have, but the numbers you are telling it is 80 lakh, and out of that 29 lakh people have got the placements. Now how many people are getting retained? That's a big question. So a lot of numbers, and I am telling you, there is one point which I also am telling. Right now, our engineers coming out are not properly employable. So the system, our education system itself is having a problem. As you rightly said, Mahatma Gandhi have he already given us the vision of the importance of the occasional education in the system, which is not properly followed. If you see that Manish Kotari in his chat he have just given, there is no apprentices in this country. In China, there is 20 million apprentices. In Japan, you have 10 million apprentices. In Germany, you have 4 million apprentices. You need to see that, compare the population. Apart from China, you compare all the other countries where Germany have 4 million apprentices. You cannot compare with the 140 crore Indian population, and we only have 3.84 lakh apprentices. This itself shows a big gap. So there is something which is wrong. So you also told me one point that we are creating knowledge workers. The entire system is having the problem. We are not making knowledge creators. Our strength is our people, but we are trying to make those, we are not able to use that strength properly. The human capital, whatever we are having, we are not able to use it properly. And you have given us some, great vision also that we should look at higher education 4.0. That is the way things are changing. So it's a very huge gap. So I would like to go to Mr. Sudarshan, because he heads a very, very progressive vocational training institute in the country. And that is one of the oldest, and I'm sure that, they come out with a lot of innovative ideas. I would like to go to him and find out why so much of gap. Where are we failing, Mr. Sudarshan?
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you very much. And
good afternoon. Yeah.
Sudhir has covered extensively. I will try to add on, and also Chandrakant sir also elaborated much. See, NTTF has started Skill India before it is called Skill India today, 61 years ago, with a Swiss collaboration. Okay, there they started with 30 students with a 70% practical and 30% theory. So that's how we started, and we are happy that all over India people are talking the same language now. So we are really happy that we are finally, we have realized that skill is the utmost important. Okay. And since 2016 onwards, government has done enough publicity and created a lot of awareness. Okay. And people are talking more and more, and every forums, the skill being taught, every newspaper you see, the skill or vocational is there in the newspaper every day. But is it enough? Only talking is enough. Are we doing enough? That is the big question, right? So today, average Indian age is about 29. So that's what I'm coming to demographic dividend, which Dr. Sudhir has already said it would be a disaster if we don't take care of it. So Japan and Germany is about 48 years average age, and US and China is about 40. So we have a huge advantage if we properly skill or train our youth in the coming technologies. And there is a lot of demand outside. It's going to come after COVID, definitely. It will open up. The doors will open up. And we should be ready, but are we ready? So let's debate. See, according to me, and according to some papers I've studied, there are three major factors which impact employability going forward. One is the reverse globalization. Earlier, people used to talk about globalization. Now it is reverse globalization. That is the Make in India movement, whatever you call it, because this COVID has put open a lot of economic challenges. Unless we are self-reliant, it is very difficult to progress in the world. We'll get into economic issues. So more focus will come on Make in India, Made in India products. That's what our PM Modi has also go vocal for local. So that's how that will get more predominant role going forward. So are we ready for it? So that is one. And then number two is a reverse urbanization. I have seen a lot of MNC reports making urbanization, how we develop modern transport system for urbanization, because urbanization is going to be the new world. But today, we have realized that it's a reverse urbanization. We need to go to the remote places to develop the skills. Not only, it cannot happen only in the urban areas. Because you see, a lot of my friends who are running the MSMEs and SMEs are facing tremendous problem today in the manpower. They don't have people because migrants have gone back. And the small cars and the two-wheeler sales have picked up, but they're not able to deliver. So delivery issues are happening. The supply chain disturbances are happening predominantly due to this manpower availability. So that means we have too much focused on urbanization. Now we need to think and go reverse urbanization and go skilling in the remote areas, not only in the urban areas. And the third one is the rapid acceleration of exponential technologies, what we call. That is all these new technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, and Industry 4.0 will take a more and more role, because the dependency on the manpower, because a lot of MNCs want to reduce, they want to introduce more automation. So these kind of technology skills will play an important role, right? So what are we doing for it? So I will go further. Dr. Sudhir has already explained the gap of developed countries like Korea and Germany, 95%, 75% into vocational education, where India is hardly between 5 to 8% go into the vocational education. Why so? So there are many factors. One is the skill or vocational education is aspirational for Indian youth, because over the many years, it has been considered as a low-level job, lower than the blue-collar job, these vocational or skills level. So there is a tremendous social stigma attached to it, because these people have not been provided enough opportunity to grow on the social recognition, and also there was no horizontal or vertical mobility of the skilled or vocationally educated people, those who have really good hands-on skills. For example, if you go to Germany, I lived in Germany for 5 years. So after 7 standards, the teachers suggest which one your kid should go, to take a vocational stream or an academic stream. So most likely the parents will listen, 95% they listen to the teacher's ability, because they've assessed over 7 years his ability. So they felt that he is more in skills, so they would suggest. And the social stigma is not there. See, I worked in Bosch factory in Germany, and coming from the vocational stream and also an academic stream, both have the same value and respect inside the factory, and there is a recognition. So this is one of the biggest factor. How are we going to bring social recognition? And also, we call it as lot of NSQF level, National Skill Qualification level, level 1 to level 10, based on the skill standard. Okay, we train, we also train people and award this certificate through Sector Skill Council and NSDC. But what next? Because I have not seen a single advertisement from the industry calling for this NSQF level. We still call diploma with experience, or engineering with experience, or ITA with experience. So the industry also should come forward recognizing this NSQF level. There could be two reasons. Either industry does not believe that this training is effective, or they don't really consider that they can add value. So there is a gap, we should address this. One is the training effectiveness and the qualification levels and the industry forwardness. So coming to the government schemes, we talked enough. There are a lot of schemes, PMKY, DDU, GKY, and ULM. So we also do a lot of all over India training under these many schemes. This is basically free for the students, right? The training providers get some money. But predominantly, this is maximum 3 to 4 months period of training. Can anyone tell me, with 3 to 4 months of training, can you really transform them into a good skill labor? So we have been suggesting to the government also to increase at least a minimum 10 months. It should be with us, so that we can convert them into a real skill, and he can be groomed to take on the industry needs from the day one when he goes out. So this is a gap also, because maybe government is under pressure to procure numbers. There is a lot of promise made, 40 crore people to be trained. So these 3 to 4 months training will not be sufficient for the people to go on and function, not only domestic needs, but also international needs. So there has to be some change has to come. So we strongly believe that long-term training is more important than these short-term skills, right? And there has to be an
Sudarshan, sorry to, because my question was, yes, why we are failing? Because if we can stick to this, because it's a debate, right? So yeah, we need to keep it short, and then we will go to the other people for the views. So where we are failing in the entire process? Because even right now, one of your old student was there. They were also telling that there is a lack of the occasional, the training and the industry connect is missing. That's what he is telling. So somewhere all the efforts, you yourself is just told that whatever scheme the government is coming out with, okay, skilled education for 3 to 4 months is not going to help. So the entire planning is going to be failure. So where we are actually doing with all these efforts, who is getting benefited by all these 1,500 crore government have given to that? Somewhere the resources is going, time.
Yes, see, one thing is that the awareness has come. So I'll give you an example, like Maruti Suzuki, for example. So they have there is a policy called, you can use the Flexi MOU, you can run your own apprenticeship program inside your plant. So there is no need to take a repeated government approach. They do it methodically, a 2 years apprenticeship scheme. Okay, we are also partner in training. So they recruit and train 2 years before he can go and produce the part. So this is one of the industry-led program. So why we are not able to use it and copy it and help MSME to develop similar models? So that is, big guys are doing, like Bosch is doing. They also have their own apprenticeship model. Like Presto also we are working. They have their own apprenticeship model. So industry has to come forward also to develop this kind of training. That is number one. Then it will really work, because they know exactly what is the need and demand, and the people will be trained for the need and demand. So it has to be a pull system than a push system. So what we are doing all through skill missions is a push system. We train them we have some QPs derived, we train them and produce them, and then try to place them. Whereas when industry start working, it will be a pull demand. So there is a demand and we train them and place them. So this will again a tremendous momentum. So this is one of the biggest gaps. So
Okay, I will come back to you. I will come back to you, Sudarshan. So I need to go back to our other panelist also.
Yeah.
So one thing what I learned from Sudarshan is that the industry needs to proactively go for the requirements. If the manufacturing need to get skill from Skill India mission or from any other education, any industry, it is better that the industry and academy come together and design the programs. So that is what even Dr. Governor told, that he goes to the industry and tell, okay, you tell what we need to teach. We will create, we will design our courses according to that. So I just want to come and ask Nihar, who is on the field of technical education. We are understanding from all these talks, there is a big, gap, there is a requirement, but there is a failure. We are not able to, whatever efforts is going, otherwise the plans are not going right. So your institution follows the Swiss model. So how it is different from others, and where you see that this failure can be, corrected?
Thanks, Hari. So some very good points from all the seniors that have just spoken before me. I loved what Dr. Bhavani talked about. We picked up few important things there. One was learning by doing. One was about quality training, knowledge creators. And we also picked up from Dr. Sudarshan about creating dignity and aspiration for kids, for the youth today, those who are going to get skilled. So I'm going to show, or I'm going to rather be a devil's advocate in some areas and throw some food for thought for all of us to take away today. One is every time we talk about skilling the youth, right? Every time we talk about youth has to be skilled, youth is the future of India today. I'll just do a small exercise with all of you. Just when I say youth, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Can you imagine a youth? So I don't need answers, just do that. How many of you imagined a young boy, right? And how many of you imagined a young girl? So I don't need answer to that, but I do know the statistics, and I'm sure you are aware of the statistics too. So the point I'm making is a lot of us talking about skilling youth, designing the policies, implementing the skilling policies, do not really know the people we are working with, right? We talk about youth as if they need rescuing from us. They need skilled, and they need jobs, and they need XYZ things, and we need to go give it to them. This will not happen until and unless we stop treating them as victims and start treating them as stakeholders in the growth. Let's listen to what they really want from us. Let's listen to the way they want things to be done from us and make them an equal stakeholder in this conversation that we are having today. So that is one, right? Second, you spoke about the new education policy that has just been released. So if you see the education sector today, in fact, we have the second largest education system after China, not just a large one. So second largest in the world. If you talk about the education today, we've moved from following instructions. So when we implemented the education in India, it was more for people to get trained to be able to follow instructions. Do bhi unko job laga rahe, okay, fine, you're able to tick, 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 do it as I say. We've moved from that to today where there's a need of people who can think, right? And that has led to a conversation about pedagogy in the academic sector. In schools and colleges, we're still talking about, okay, this is what has to be delivered, this is the outcome, and we're going to implement it this way. In the vocational area today, we are still not talking about the pedagogy. We're still not talking about, if we have to skill, what is the real model we can use to achieve the learning outcome of skilling, right? So a lot of us, we've understood, or we've all aligned to a fact that youth today needs to be trained. They are not, even if they're trained, they're not helping the manufacturing industries. So for that to happen, we need to go a step further from the mission. We need to go a step further from the implementation that we're already doing. Sit down together and define the pedagogy of vocational education as well. You asked me a second question, so I'll move quick to that one. that we follow a system, we are also into technical education. What makes us different? A lot of times, so we might not be very different from a lot of institutions who are doing great work, right? But one thing that I'm very clear about is the students or the kids that come to us are dropout, or the kids who drop out of their 10th grade. So sir had mentioned a point that 3 or 4 months is not enough time to train someone or even train a skilled manpower. I would go beyond that and make a point that even 1 year is not enough to create a child, because a 16-year-old child who's coming to you, there's a lot of psychological development the child has to go through. There's a lot of foundation the child has to build. It takes just 2 to 3 months, even as an adult, to shred a lot of inhibitions, to open us to learning, to start asking questions in the learning environment, right? So this, yes, let's make the education more modular. Let's make the vocational education more modular. Let's make it more aspirational. How do we make it aspirational is a long-term plan. It won't happen overnight. The day you and I, Hari, especially all of us in the panel today, are able to say very confidently that yes, I'm going to make my brother, or my brother's going to go for vocational education, or you are able to, all of us are going very happily agreeing that our children will be taking the vocational education pathway and we have no problems with it. That day is the day we'll make vocational education more aspirational for all of us. Like a lot of us on the panel today, in the attending, all the attendees are also parents of children, right? So let's take back this thought process. Are we really okay with our families going into vocational education? So that's one thought process. The day we are able to answer that, the day we are able to say, yes, we are, we'd be able to make vocational education more aspirational for all of us to go into it.
That is something great, Nihar, and I completely agree with you. You know, the change needs to happen from the home itself. When we are talking about dignity, when we are talking about, because you see a lot of innovation come from people who are dropouts. So it is not just the education from a classroom which matters. It is the you know, what the quality, what the people, or the interest of skill, what is the interest of that particular person, what is what he can innovate. And as you rightly told, we need to bring the students, the youth who are taking these courses as a stakeholder in the process. That is somewhat which is missing. It is like we are giving something, we are giving education to the kid because we are giving him a favor so that he can earn tomorrow. That is what the parent thinks. And the government also somewhere comes with India, and I'm telling, oh, you know, we are going to give you 1,500 crores, we're going to give you this because we are going to give you something. So there is a big miss is that the person whom you are giving, you are not actually educating him. You are giving something and people are doing things which they really don't know. Every system, there is no clarity. So we will come back on this and we will debate again. Before that, I would like to ask, go to Sanjeev. See, you deal with people, you deal with people management. I'm sure that there is a lot of gap you find out when you are going and finding out the right kind of talent for the manufacturing industry. So with all these efforts by the government or the other traditional systems is there, where do you feel that, you know, we can overcome this, Sanjeev? Sanjeev, you are mute. You need to unmute.
Okay, let me share some harsh truth. Okay, skill development is different, employability is different. Okay, so there are people who are okay now, and again, skill development is very different from knowing something. Now we have people who know about how to do this. Okay, they have not done it. Okay, and when it comes to explaining in the interview, they are not able to explain. So if you see, there is a chain. One, we are calling knowing or education as skill development. Webinars cannot develop people. It has to be proper workshops where you can develop people. Okay, what we are talking about is learning, it's not development. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, we talk about so many things about skill and all that. We need to understand one fact, that trainings or whatever skill development that we are talking about are not free. Okay, education in today's world and what we call as skill development is costly. Okay, how many people are able to afford that? Okay, all these institutes that are represented on this forum, nobody is not doing up a free skill development. They are charging something. Okay, so it's a business model. Okay, one simple fact, my daughter who is in nursery, we have paid 48,000 for 1 year. Okay, and when we are talking about higher education or higher skill development program, we are talking about investment of lakhs of rupees. And as some of the panelists said, that 3 or 4 months are not enough, 1 year is not enough. So the longer the period, longer will be the investment. So do we have government support here? Are these programs sponsored? Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is, okay, now if I take to part two is employability. Okay, so when we are talking about employability, we are talking about communication. That is the first and the foremost thing. People are not able to communicate. Okay, they are not able to explain what they have learned and what they do. Second thing, more than skills, people need to be taught how to be learnable, how to learn throughout their life. Once the course is over, their learning aptitude should not stop. They know how to learn for their life. Okay, that is third thing. And what is their attitude towards life? That is another thing. We have seen so many cases. Okay, we have employed people from Bihar, UP, and all that to cities like Delhi, Noida, and all. They are paid well. They are paid well for their role, like 5,000, 8,000, and stuff like that to start with. Within of the 3 months, they go back. They say that we will go back to Bihar and all that, and we will do farming, because this is not what we have to do. So we ask them about their expected salaries and all that, and they are like 20,000, 25,000 and stuff like that. No, that is not the kind of salaries that the companies are going to pay to someone who is going to practice his knowledge at their cost. Okay. Third comes the role of industry. So we need to understand very clearly that industries are here to make profit. They are in the business. Okay, they will not be spending their time, okay, to train, to let people come and practice and all. So the gap here, I think, is more than hard skills. It is more about soft skills. Soft skills, when we are talking about soft skills, we are talking about attitude, we are talking about mindset, we are talking about learnability, we are talking about communication. Communication, whether you communicate in English, Hindi, Bhojpuri, and whatever. You should be able to explain what you have learned. So this is where we come into picture. There have been cases when we tried to collaborate with institutes, like, we can help your students to be employable, and there it become kind of a business deal. Okay, now we will appoint you if you ensure the placement of our students. Now that's not what is the role of the consultant is. Now the consultant like us, we are a bridge between corporate and institutes. We are ready with the, with the information about what is happening, what is sellable, what are the corporates expecting, and that's how we can build gap. All Everything else seems to be a jargon, because whether it is a knowledge or whether it is a skill, whatever it is, eventually an individual should be able to learn. There are so many of the time we meet people in the trainings. Within 24 hours of attending a training program, they know everything. You ask them after 1 week, they have forgotten everything. So here people know things, but they don't know how to do it. So knowing is different, development is entirely different. So if we are talking about skill development, I see a huge gap. Training is not a development. Let's accept that. That's it.
So you also told a lot of valid points. Here, one thing what I am understanding is the entire education system as such. It is not just about government of India or state government coming and changing the policy, changing the education policy. That's a part of it. Policy development and all those things. It takes time and let it go. But each institution, each teacher need to change the way they are providing knowledge, education, training to their students. The whole system needs to change. That is what we are able to find out from here. So again, I would like to go back to Sudarshan. Like I heard from your discussion when I was hearing you, I heard that NTTF is having association with Festo. You spoke about Festo.
Yes.
You spoke about Bosch.
Yes.
So you already created some association with the industries, and when you are giving this training to these people, so how you make people industry ready? And if you are having a successful model, why that is not able to be given to other things? As Manish is asking, is there any model created by NTTF for MSMEs?
Yeah, I will answer in 2-3 points. So number one is the teachers or the trainer you said. So that is TOT is tremendously lacking in India. See, what we do at NTTF is whenever a person joins us, we provide them 18 months of rigorous training. So he has to do all experiments with the student has to do and clear an exam. Then only he is allowed to teach to a student. So this is number one, we are following very strictly. Number two, the second model, what the successful model we have is, what is, of course, we have academic council, which is participated by the industries. So all the inputs, leading industry people are on our academic board. So we take the inputs and we revise our syllabus every 6 months to be up to date in today's technology. So that is number one. And number two, we have created over the years a remedy or a holistic training. When the students first come in, we have 3 weeks of a roping program, we call it, because all over India, people come to us with different backgrounds and culture. So we give them how to take on this vocational education, what they can aspire for, and how basic grooming stuffs, and some kind of some behavioral training and soft skill and safety training. So this is the rope-in program we have got. And before they go out, again, 3 weeks of rope out program we have. So we simulate industry culture, industry, how when the first day he enter into an industry, what are the challenges he will face, because he will not have more a teacher, he will have a boss. So he will demand work. So how to cope up with that? So how to perform well? So all those things we have made a package, and it is being successfully delivered. Like, we have developed a successful model to implement for MSMEs. Like, for example, today is the industry 4.0 is the need. So is MSMEs really can afford such a program to be implemented at MSME shop floor? Because it is an expensive scenario at the present moment. But what we have done, we have worked with a Bosch to develop a simulation and a software, and also a model which between 5 to 8 lakh rupees MSMEs or SMEs can implement for the lifetime, so that they are ready with the industry 4.0. And together with Bosch, we have developed a curriculum, and also Bosch people come and train the people for 2 days. So this kind of a industry relationship, we are managing it very well. So this is how we are being successful.
So my question is, when Bosch is going and coming and give the training to the students, I believe, there is a chance that, Bosch themselves can take those people into their factory, right?
Yes.
So that is one way of doing that. So here, what is the average salary, one of your student gets out when they get out of NTTF?
See, NTTF diploma program.
If you say the package.
The NTTF diploma program is about 3 years package. 3 years.
Yeah.
Program.
No, means I'm not telling about the cost of education. I am talking about once a person he get his diploma and go to the industry, what is the package he gets, the salary?
So minimum 3 lakhs they get when they go out after 10 plus 3 years, I'm telling you. Okay. And maximum 7.5 lakh also they have got this year. So this is the range, because these people are in high demand. They all come to the campus and take the people. So because they are known that they will add value. So that's how industry is taking the skilled people from NTTF.
See, this is what, again, a point which I would like to go back and ask Mr. Salke. And again, if I get time, I will come back to you, because myself also, if you can see the chat box, he's telling Bosch and all those things are corporates. What about MSMEs? That's what I was asking. What is a package? So it starts with 3 lakh rupees. So 25,000 rupees is a very good amount for a MSME owner to employ a person, right? So how the MSMEs are able to afford the right kind of workers, people who can actually add value to their factory. So if Mr. Salunke is there, I would like to get his views on the salary which can be paid by the MSMEs for these kind of skills.
The point is, the MSMEs are now focusing more on, the skill development. They are establishing the connectivity with the various institutions for getting the manpower. But the point is, salary paid to the MSME, salary paid by the MSME to the manpower, or the particular the people, the skilled people, depend on their background, depend on their education, is not that satisfactory rather, because the SME sector cannot retain the manpower for more continuity or long continuity. So this is very, very interesting point. We have suggested government that if we can give some value addition services, if we can give some additional support to MSME sector to retain that manpower for a continuity, because I found that most of the companies are not going to retain the manpower for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or more than that also. But they go to other factories, they go to the other sector. The point is here how we can develop and how we can encourage MSME sector to take. Rather, we are in touch with the government of India's Labor Department, even Commerce Ministry, Minister of MSME, to bring some, unique concept. Instead of giving, rate of interest, less rate of interest or any other, why not government come out that if I'm giving employment for 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, 100 people, on that they can give us some marks. How Mr. Dr. Sudhir Gulani is giving the marks in the students, those are, passing in exams. Like that, this MSME should be given the marks or, some rewards that say like yearly you have educated, trained or employed 100 people. So they can get some, value addition support or any reward from the government. That is the point we have to now think.
See, this is a very important point. We have a couple of people who are, shared their views. Like, Ram from Indigo Colors. His startup. He's a very small factory. He's running an MSME, and he's into manufacturing of paints. And a fresher who is asking 20 to 25,000 rupees, and it becomes very difficult for him to manage that money. The same way it goes, Mahesh Pokarkar, he's also telling that the more just because of 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, maybe, the employees shift. So this is a huge concern for MSMEs for sustainable employment. So I will come to Nihar because I know that you would like to talk about the successful the education systems what you developed in ACE. I will come to you. Before that, I would like to ask Dr. Gavani. So can we, because there are lots of engineers who are coming, who are not getting employed, can industry academy collaborate and find out a solution for a sustainable skill development program and solutions for the SMEs?
Rightly said. So this, it should not be, ceremonial thing that universities and industry are meeting themselves, sharing some thoughts, and not on action level doing anything. Once in a year, we do such kind of ceremonial rituals, and it is not yielding anything. So for me, even about the Skill India mission, I personally feel there are 12,000 agencies involved, more than 8,800 are private agencies. Now, my view is, instead of identifying private agencies to train, okay, and it is very much investigatable thing that the credentials of those agencies, how competent those people are to train. Are they competent enough to train the skills? If you study, you will find very shocking results. These people are like employment guarantee scheme for such people. Credential people are not there in a skill training now. Hello. Therefore, my view was that this responsibility should have been given to the ITIs and polytechnics and universities. They would have done it better way. So there is a problem in our country. There is a difference between show and substance. Lot of show is there about the skill development and all. Where is the substance? And substance matters for the industry. They want delivery. And as you say, if corporates are able to pay good salary, then SME sector also want manpower. And how you are going to give the manpower? But there is a possibility. Then from the small towns, taluka level, district level, youth there are happy with 15,000, 10,000 salary. Even engineers, I have seen that as they don't get the job, they're ready to work with 10,000 salary. So I personally feel that we should reach out to these, remote rural places, towns, small towns, and there you will get the quality people and train them. Little bit of training is required, and communication skills. I think I personally prefer. Doing skills are more important than the communication skills when it comes to the actively skill doing, doing the skills, employing the skills, applying the skills. Therefore, this communication is okay. I'm a student of communication. I'm a media teacher. I'm a communication student throughout my life. Communication is very important for selling yourself. But at the same time, you know, when it comes to the skills, the ability to do is very important. Performance is very important. Are they able to perform? Are they able to make a show? Substance is important in terms of skills. And therefore, my personal view is the education system in India was not taken into the confidence while implementing the skill mission. If it would have been done, there would have been the better result, not much as expected, but at least 15-20% improvement would have been seen by us.
आपण त्यांच्याशी एखादी कॉन्फरन्स कॉल करूया मग नंतर ठरवू आपण मी एक
This is again your views are really I'm telling you this in this panel, the views whatever you are going is to help all of us.
एक मिनिट थांबा.
So let's
Harish, one more point,
Yeah.
one line.
Yes.
See,
Yeah.
government has given 10,500 crores, right? For this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If government has a political will, I am not saying this government or that government. In the governments of India over the 6-7 decades, if they have political will, if a government can invest 1 lakh crore rupees for a bullet train to connect 2 cities, to have a bullet of career and livelihood of the thousands and millions of youth of our country, why can't government invest 2 lakh crores? 10,500 crores is nothing. Upgrade your institution, upgrade your ITIs, polytechnics, engineering, give them boost, train them well, give the infrastructure and ask them to deliver. If they don't deliver, don't give money. That should be the spirit. I am very frank about that.
This is absolutely correct what you are talking.
Can I ask question to Dr. Sudhir Gawane ji?
Please, sir. Please.
Since you said very loudly and very interestingly by heart, from your heart, what is your reaction and your feedback about new education policy? Is it work for creating new entrepreneurship, or is it creating a new the people youth for a new India? What is your observation on that?
See, new education policy document was much needed because the policy which came during the Rajiv Gandhi era 1986, after that it was a bit modified during the Narasimha Rao government in 1992, and till then a lot of changes, revolutions have taken place in our 21st century, and our policies, our institutions were not up to mark to cope up with the changing scenario, changing technologies. So the initiation of the government to have a new education policy is appreciable. The very document of the vision is really a good one. I will say excellent one. But problem is, in India, all the education commissions I have seen, I have studied from Kotari Commission, they were the best reports ever produced by top intellectuals. But when it comes to the education in India, there is a problem. For example, there is a commitment that 6% GDP will be invested into education. Do you find and do you realize that with the COVID, next 6-7 years, recovery of industry is very difficult, and all the state governments are in financial crunch, debt ridden, and they are not able to invest into day-to-day activities. Will they invest into the education? It is not possible. So education, de-affiliation of all affiliated colleges is the plan till 2032. Will it be executed? Because de-affiliating means they are saying that some universities will be, some colleges will be converted into degree awarding colleges. 600-700 are there, Center for Excellence. Okay, that is nice, that will happen. No doubt about that. But other colleges, which are 35,000 plus, and they are unaided colleges, no finances are there, poor teachers, poor infrastructure, poor environment, and all these colleges are will be considered converted into constituent colleges of the regional universities of that particular region, and they will be having liability and assets of those colleges, looking after making salary and all that. And all state universities are already in financial crunch, very difficult financial situation. Who will take care of that? I am a student of economics too, and I feel that execution is a big problem in our country. And about this NEP also, same thing will happen. This is my observation, Sankar sir.
Yeah, even though we are talking, Hariji, very interesting thing
Ah,
he said.
yes, yes.
The Maharashtra government has started Maha job portal. And surprisingly, who are the member, who are the, the people that are registered, those are already in job. With the expectation that they will get a best job. If someone is working Pune, he is getting around say 20,000 salary. So he is thinking the government will give me 50,000 salary job, and I will get a job. Where are the people, unemployed people in Maharashtra? The Maharashtra government doesn't have that also.
Yes.
Other better than that, my organization working particularly for the creating the manpower, supply the manpower, and supporting the industry for the growth. Another very interesting point we have to focus rather. See, no government. Rather, we talk about central government or state government. Who is putting efforts to creating manpower? All are the colleges, because all the colleges are producing the manpower. Particularly for those manpower, we will be putting efforts for the growth of industry and the students coming out with a degree or coming out with the knowledge and education for starting a business. So colleges are producing the youth for a better India, a future India. Thank you.
Yeah, see, these are very, very valid points you both have told, and NEP is something which we can debate for next 1 hour. So anyway, let's I think we have another 10 minutes only. So before that, I would like to talk to two people. So I would like to come back in, and I think at ACE you have found a great way of collaborating with the MSMEs and having a program. So I would like to hear more about that.
Thanks, Hari. So I'll start with first point that Sanjeev ji had made earlier, where he said कि time बढ़ाओगे तो investment बढ़ेगा, which is so true. I mean, all of us understand that, and especially me being a Marwadi, sitting in state of Gujarat, the first thing that we'll talk about is paisa kitna banega, paisa kitna jayega. That's the fact. So, but having said that, I'll still make a point. MSME owners, end of the day, are still entrepreneurs, right? They do business. They know how to run a business. So one of the things that we will have to do, and something that we've done and seen the impact, is make vocational education more sustainable. All of us today expect कि government पैसा देंगी तो हम लोग ये implement करेंगे, फिर इतने लोगों को support करेंगे. But is that really sustainable? Is one question that all of us would be, must think. Can we not make it self-sustainable? Can the model not become self-sustainable in a way where there is a quantifiable ROI? MSME owners, as I said, are entrepreneurs end of the day. They do not mind increasing the pay. They do not mind investing in something as long as you can tell them this is the ROI you're getting over a period of time. Like you'll see a lot of MSMEs today investing in technology. A lot of MSMEs today are importing good machines from all over the world. So they do have the resources as long as you know, or they know as business owners, that my investment is going to pay off in better production. It's going to pay off to greater revenue in the future. So one, we have to make vocational education more sustainable. The model has to be such. Two, we have to make the ROI quantifiable. We've not been able to quantify vocational education ROI. That is one thing that we'll all have to do. Secondly, now we're talking about so I'll just share a small case study on what we've been doing with MSMEs. right? I'm hoping one of the things, a few learnings can help a lot of other MSMEs to take it forward from here, because that's the intent of us coming all together. And ultimately the question was, how can the Skill India mission help manufacturing as manufacturing industries today? So the first thing is, we have created a model in a way where the entire education, so we've not taken, or we do not get funding from the government to run this model that I'm talking about today. What we really do is, the kids are partially sponsored by the MSMEs, and partially the students pay a fees, right? It is something like skin in the game. Now, a lot of people would ask me, a lot of people that I speak to would go like, what if afford nahi kar sakta? You know, दिन का रोटी नहीं है, afford fees कैसे afford करेगा ये करने का? So even for that, what we've done is, we've gone a step backward and created a system where that student can value add in such a way that they get paid to do this. So if we have a 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees fees, what we do is, we give them work enough so that outside the school hours they earn that money, get a pocket money, and instead of us going like, nahi tum free mein padho, they actually come and give us the fee from their own pocket. So one, that builds a lot of dignity for that young person who's going to come and study. You know, I can speak from my experience. When we contributed to our higher education, it was a different confidence altogether. It was a different dignity for us altogether. So that is something that these kids also need. So one of the things that we've done is this. Second, yes, as I said, partially MSMEs are what support the education of the kid, but that is because we've sat down with them, we've understood the ROI. I think in the comment section, Manish sir had written that if the student or the kid is trained enough, we can realign the whole pyramid of workforce. A lot of times I see a lot of comments happening in the chat section where they're talking about the pyramid is inverted right now. There are more engineers than there are operators. And industry SME needs multi-skilled operators. So that's not a debatable question anymore. Any MSME you talk to, they need machine operators and maintenance, multi-skilled people. So what we really have to do is, what we're not covering in our discussion is the quality. Right? We're talking about skilling, but are we really talking about quality skilling? What are the parameters is what something that industry will have to define. So we were fortunate enough to have an industry sit down with us and tell us, see, these are the quality outputs we are talking about. As long as we get these quality outputs, we are ready to invest in the training of the kids or training of the students, not because they're doing a charity or not because it's their CSR, but because they know that the same student who we are investing in today is going to give us the same value a year or a year and a half later. Right? So if I am spending 50,000 rupees or 1,00,000 rupees on training training my workforce before they join me, that same person who's going to work in my 80 lakhs ka machine, it's more important for that. Ek mistake kiya to mera to 80 lakh 1 crore gaya na. So that understanding has to be developed with MSME owners. So I'm not talking about the mindset. I'm talking about owners with growth mindset. So MSMEs first need to do that. Once we are able to do that, create a sustainable model, create a quantifiable ROI, one challenge that all of us will keep facing is integration of skilled labor in the MSME. Because existing culture, existing workforce, it's not very easy. There's a lot of friction, you know, and that is where the upskilling comes in place. You had started, you had, when you introduced the entire panel, this was one of the words that you used, the upskilling or the reskilling. You know, that is where the upskilling and reskilling and developing an entire culture of skilled labor comes into the place. We have a lot of times, and third, before I move on, so third thing, a lot of MSMEs or organizations have this problem कि मैंने train किया और वो छोड़ के चला जाएगा. You know, that is a generic all over, and this is a fair point. Train karo, chhod ke जाने वाला या जाने वाला. So that happens. A lot, we've been able to, in fact, reduce the attrition because of one simple fact. We take in students who dropped out of 10th grade. Okay, so these students who come down have we've set up the entire organization in the industry premises. So what happens psychologically with these people is they've seen the industry throughout the period of 2 years. So here we're not talking about 3 months, 4 months. We're actually talking about 2-year period where they're not just building a foundation, they're also getting into production models. Like I'll talk about the production model later, but they're getting into production model. So somehow they build a loyalty towards the organization. A kid who earlier thought, okay, मेरा 10th भी pass नहीं हो रहा है, मैं life में क्या करूँगा? The parents who think कि बच्चे ने 10th भी clear नहीं किया, life में क्या करेगा, is now able to stand on his or her feet and get access to an opportunity. For them, that means a lot. That means a lot. That builds loyalty. That builds commitment to the organization they're going to join. So surprising, I think industries can talk about it more, but we've had experience where our kids actually stay rather than leave, right? And another point I think that we were making was 1-2 में वो की वजह से वो चला जाता है या चली जाती है. So I don't think a lot of us can stop that. Even if you don't skill them, वो जाने वाले, right? That is not something we can change because that is how the current generation is. The current generation, which is digital natives today, we are not immigrants anymore. We have access to information. We know what's happening around the world, right? We know where the opportunity is. We're very quick to grasp that. But a lot of times, what industries miss out on is understanding the purpose. So today's generation, while we have to think a lot about living, earn karna, and we have to sustain ourselves, but we are not always thinking about living. Today's generation is thinking more about the purpose. So somehow, if industry can align our purpose with the industry, the career progression, show us where we are moving ahead in life, attrition can reduce considerably. And it's not going to happen overnight, obviously. It's going to take some time, but it's a long journey ahead. But that's the small step we have to take, right?
Yeah, can you tell the one suggestion or a message to MSME sector how they can retain their employees for a long time? Since you have a good knowledge and you are hammering on proper nail, I want to understand from you what will be your suggestion for retaining the continuity of my manpower. What is your suggestion or observation?
Yes. So thanks for asking, but so I'll come again back to the one point is one, we have to understand. I'm sorry, I'm repeating again and again the same thing.
No problem. We are here to listen you. You are doing proper work. Don't worry.
So I think that's the crux to everything here. Let's listen to people. Let's listen to the need that's aligned to their aspirations. A lot of times when you're talking about workforce, the pyramid ke niche jo machine operator, shop floor hote hain, no one's really had that conversation with them about where do you want to be later. Do you want to be someone jo screw kasta hai puri life, or do you see yourself progressing over the years? And this is your progression chart. But that will only happen if there's a commitment, there's loyalty, and there's an exchange of learning within yourself. So very few organizations, very few MSMEs go down to that shop floor level, go down to that shop floor worker and asks, तुम्हें ये जानना है, तुम्हें ये सीखना है जिससे तुम यहाँ पहुँच सको. Right? I think Mani sir would be the right person to throw light on how he's reduced the attrition in Rhino machines considerably, right? Considerably. And he's on the panel, so he's one person to give you input on that too. But a lot of times हमें लोग बोलते हैं कि ट्रेनिंग करने से लोग चले जाते हैं. What we've seen is completely opposite. ट्रेन करने से लोग रुकते हैं.
You are right.
So coming to rescue you, I will request Manish, if possible, to just give that answer. How an MSME can, attrition को हम कैसे रोक सकते हैं? Like how we can retention improve कर सकते हैं? Is Manish, will you be able to just add your 2 points before we?
I can.
Manish?
May I say something by the time Manish comes?
Yeah. Please.
See, this is very important issue has been raised. and being discussed rightly by Neha and Salunke sir. I'm saying, see, there are the solutions here itself. There are the many problems around us, but there are solutions around us also. For example, one example of construction company, Mr. Shirke's construction company from Pune. There is a history of that company that attrition ratio is minimal in that company. Why it is minimal? Why it is minimal? They take care of every employee of theirs. They consider them as a family. I will just cite one small example of theirs so that we can come to know how human resource is being treated and how they should be dealt with. What happened? They were having, Karagis, skilled workers looking after the tiles and all that in a housing. Okay. Outstandingly brilliant person, uneducated, but he was brilliant into his work, top quality work he was doing. Then one day, Shirke sir called him. I have called you for one thing, that, now you find out 10 such people of your competencies and bring them to me. Then he thought that I will be losing my job if I bring them. Then he assured, don't worry, your job will be there and I will be promoting you. You just come and bring good people of your quality. So he toured and got 10 people of his abilities and competencies. And then Shirke sir told him, now you are entrepreneur and I'm giving you the contract of tiling, okay, flooring. And these 10 skilled workers will be working under you. And I am giving you 2 crores assignment under the Shirkes. You will be working for us and you will be our vendor. And he has created for electricity, for other skills, he created entrepreneurs among the team. So nobody, no attrition, minimal attrition, nobody is ready to leave that organization. There is a case during the COVID from Kolhapur, one oil factory, small oil factory, he was having workers from, Karnataka and other regions. And he said, I will take care of your family, don't leave. We will be running the factory. I will be paying you 1.5% more salary. At present, if you are getting 10 rupees, I will be giving you 15 rupees and you be here. Don't worry. I will be giving you medical support and all that. And nobody left his company. So this is the human resource approach. Our HR companies have to change their mindset that employees are not dependent on them. They are equally dependent on the employees also. So that approach is required. Co-growing, co-working, co-improving. That is the co-prosperity.
True.
That is the point.
It is actually seeing your people as internal partners as well as customers are external partners. So yeah. Manish is there. We are just, time is very limited. So let's hear from Manish that, to answer Mr. Salunke, how a MSME can reduce the attrition. Manish, are you able to hear us?
Thank you. So, Mr. Salunke, being an MSME, I understand. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things which I inherited from my father was to invest in people, not only in machinery. And this is one of the key factors in MSMEs because making them your partners and showing them growth and allowing them to grow and have done. Where today, what I can say is in ACE Foundation, for example, the teachers are the same technically about money. It's also about a technician, an IT technician teaching an engineer how to do automation. Right now we have got an online class of ACE Foundation where industrial automation is taught by a ITI instrumentation to a qualified engineer. That dignity which we are able to share with our people is something which binds them together with us. And if MSMEs invest in the people working with them as their family members, as I would deal with my daughter or my son, that is very, very important. The HR in an MSME is the owner. There's no HR department. So we as an HR head should invest in people. It's very, very important to understand what they want to do. And that's what we have been doing. So there's been a continuous training. I have trained so many people without thinking whether they will leave or not. Because if I did not train, they might have goofed up something and I would have made a bigger loss than by not training. I think, thank you.
Thank you, Manish. Actually, people like Manish, people like Mr. Salunke, Dr. Gavane, Mr. Sudarshan, Nihar, Mr. Sanjeev. See, all these people are the one who makes the difference in our nation. I always appreciate the initiatives taken by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi from his first time of taking the office of Prime Minister. He launched the Make in India program, and time to time he brought in a lot of schemes and lot of changes into the system. It is not about one person who can make the changes. A person, a leader can give a direction. It is each one of us who need to change, understand, and change the entire system. And for education, I think it should start from our house. The way we look education, the parents, the way they look education should change. And from that basic, the entire education, the system, the way we teach need to change. Learning, developing is completely different. Today, we learn. Today, whatever our panelists have told, I am sure that each and every MSME entrepreneur should hear that. They are going to change the way they are going to work. Invest in themselves and invest in their people. They should go and collaborate with all the engineering and other technical and vocational institutions. Work together. A beautiful way of studying together or teaching together, the way ACE Foundation is doing. Take money 50% from the student, 50% invested by MSME. You have a contract. For that, you make a contract. Every education institution can follow this. So these are all these wonderful things we learn from these kind of debates. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our panelists for giving such wonderful thoughts, such wonderful time for all of us, and all our attendees who is very vocal and very supportive to us. So till next Friday, we meet. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining with us. We look forward your feedback about this program, how it is. Please write back to us. Thank you very much. Take care.
We can say,
Happy
Hari, lastly,
day to all.
We can say, Hari, that machine maker can think about how we can make machine to make people for as a MSME sector and industry.
True. I would see, that is what I am telling you. This is a small step. And with the support from all of you people, we can make a small difference. We can actually make a big difference with small efforts.
Yeah,
so happy independence to all.
Go ahead. I will support you wherever you want. And, we can plan more on many webinars because deliberations can be, definitely useful for the, different type of developments. Okay? So I suggest, bring new ideas, new concepts. We will support you. Chamber will be definitely be with you. And you can be in touch with Ms. Sakshi Kulkarni. She will be supportive. And definitely we can plan. And I am also thankful to Mr. Sudhir Gavane ji to sharing his thoughts. Special, congratulations to Nihar. I like your
Yeah, yeah.
rather, you should put more efforts to, to empowering and, strategic system for a MSME sector. Thank you.
Nihar was great today. Thank you. Happy Independence Day to all.
Yes,
Thank you.
Same to you.
Same to
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.